We're going to watch a video which I have seen on my live stream already, but it's such a fascinating thing that I want to share with you guys as well. Obviously, I have nothing against this lady. I don't even know who she is, but what she is describing at Twitter HQ is incredibly interesting. So let's watch together.
Welcome to a day in my life as a Twitter employee. So this past week went to SF for the first time at a Twitter office, badged in. Honestly, took a moment to just soak everything in. What a blessing. Also started my morning off with an iced matcha from...
So this abomination right here is called a focus room. And it goes with the other abomination, which is called an open office. Now, the thing with the focus room is that you get into it and it's soundproof, so that you can focus. And I'm thinking, like, motherfucker, I'm at work. I'm supposed to focus all the time. That's why I'm there. I'm there to do business. I'm there to produce wealth. Why is it expected that when you're outside of the focus room, you're supposed to not focus, and if you actually want to do work, you have to go inside of the little box?
The perch. Then I had a meeting, so quickly scheduled one of these little pod rooms, which were so cool. They're literally noise canceling. Took my meeting.
So the company is losing around $4 million a day, and this is the type of meals that they're getting. This looks like something that I would get at an expensive restaurant. Like, I would only go there if it's a special occasion and I want to take my wife someplace nice. It's not just that the food looks expensive, it's also the plating. There is a chef there, which is making sure that the food on the plate looks as delicious as possible. Because if you go to a cantina, which other corporations have that are serving food, they just take the slop and they're like, on the table. But no, like, someone actually spent time and energy in order to arrange these as pleasantly as possible. And you can see all of them are similarly arranged. So I do believe that they hired the professional chef and that they haven't skimmed any money on the ingredients.
Got ready for lunch. Look how delicious this food looks. Oh my goodness, I was so overwhelmed. Then made my way down to this log cabin area. I don't know what this is, but...
How does she not know what that is? The only excuse is if she got hired within the last week, because I had many jobs in my time, and I knew what everything was, at least in the places where I had access to. I mean, sure, if you took me to the executive office, I wouldn't know what things there are supposed to be, but in the place where I could move around and when I was doing my job, I knew everything. Even if I wasn't supposed to, it's like part of curiosity. Like, it's your workplace. You go there, you ask questions. But anyway, I want you to notice this other abomination, which is a children's game. And I noticed that in the United States, like, this doesn't happen in Eastern Europe, but it's specifically in the United States. They are doing everything possible in order to infantilize their workforce. Treat them like children. There are offices that literally look like kindergarten places. And they have ball pits, they have football games, they have Nerf guns. I can't even imagine how it's like to work and try to focus with some twat playing with Nerf guns in the office. It's just like mind-blowing. But all of it is designed to normalize the fact that the employees are like children. So why do they want to maintain this idea? It's because children have to listen to figures of authority. They have to listen to parents, they have to listen to teachers. And it's the same thing with the employee. Like, they're not supposed to think for themselves. They're supposed to listen to the HR lady. They're supposed to listen to the diversity commissar. They're supposed to listen to all the higher-ups, which tell them what to think, how to think, what to do, when to do. And anyone that actually hired a person who works at these big corporations will immediately realize that if you don't handhold them, if you don't tell them how to do their job, they literally don't know. So you can have a person that knows how to code and has worked in a corporate environment for a while or has graduated a university, which also infantilizes them. And unless you help them out and you handhold them, they're useless. Meanwhile, you can hire a person that learned how to code by themselves and taught themselves how to code. And when you give them a problem, they will work on it until they find the solution without requiring you to handhold them. And this is like the psychological reason why you keep having these bizarre games that are clearly made for children and not for adults.
It was really cool. Played some foosball with my friends to kind of unwind a bit.
It begs the question, what is she unwinding from? Like, she hasn't done any work besides one meeting, and yet already she requires unwinding? I wonder how it's like to have a job in construction, or to be a plumber, or a police officer. I mean, if this was enough to stress her out that she required unwinding, I'm really curious how she would cope in other businesses.
Also found this really cool meditation room that
This actually is a room that looks like a prison. I'm not gonna lie, this is the only room that she shows which is ugly. Apparently is the meditation room.
I thought was super neat. I didn't do any yoga, but they have this yoga room if you were a yogi, so also thought that was really cool. Had a couple more meetings in the afternoon, had a ton of projects that we needed to knock out. Say hey to my teammates.
That's another psychological horror that corporations are inflicting upon the employees, giving them or encouraging them to have nicknames for each other, the Twitter mates, right? Like, they want the corporation to be part of your identity. The worst thing that they can do is to call it the corporate family. Like, you should run away from that. Like, first of all, my family was abusive enough to me. I do not need another family to abuse me even further. And also, I have a family at home. Like, I already have a wife. I want to go home to see her. I do not want to stay with my corporate family. But that's literally why they are doing this. This is why they have, like, all these playgrounds, and they have all of these other activities which you can do. The reasoning behind them is to make you sit at the office for as long as humanly possible. Like, they want you to sit 10, 11 hours if they can. Obviously, it's not the case with Twitter, because with Twitter, you could work from home. But other corporations that are similarly oriented, like, that is the reason why they have so many activities at the workplace and why they're giving you food, is so that you sit there and you crunch the numbers. And by the way, this is only for the middle management. Like, the people that actually code, they're locked in the basement. They don't have access to this shit. They're locked in the basement. They never get to promote to this level. Like, if you want to promote to this level, you need to learn gender studies, or you gotta finish some HR training, and then you can become treated like a normal human being. If you don't, then, well, you get to sit in a dark room and code all day.
Went to the library to kind of get some more work done. Obviously had to have our afternoon coffee, so made some espresso. And then before leaving for the day, had some red wine that's on tap.
Red wine on tap. Tap. How do you say it? Tap?
Tap.
Tap. I'm a little bit shocked and bewildered of this. I have never heard about a company that wants to get its employees drunk. I have many workplaces in my life. At each and any of them, if I showed up drunk, I would have gotten huge trouble. But on Twitter, they are getting their employees drunk with wine on tap. And this company loses $4 million a day. Look how relaxed the employees are. I mean, if I was at a company which is losing $4 million a day, I would already start looking for other places to work. Like, I immediately, you know, like, no one would be smiling, no one would be happy, everyone would be depressed, because they know that the times are coming to an end. But here, looking at this video, it looks like she's at a hotel. Like, it looks like she's at a 4-star hotel in order to relax, and not at a place in order to do business. And it makes sense, right? Because Elon Musk said that for every person who codes, there are 4 people supervising. These are probably some of the people doing the supervision. And they have access to all these facilities, and they have access to all of these perks, and on top of that, they get paid really, really well. And now they're Pikachu face when they're getting fired, because they're losing access to all of this shit. And you may wonder, it's like, okay, but why is it that they are losing so much money? Like, how can they maintain the business? The answer is through investors. The investors, they're not buying a profitable company. The investors are buying propaganda. Like, they wanted to buy Twitter as a means to reach the public, as a means to influence how people think. So they weren't interested in whether or not Twitter is profitable. As such, they keep giving money and they kept giving all of these perks to these people so that they can justify in their mind why are they being such horrible individuals, right? Because you need to be horrible in order to prevent people from speaking with each other, to like actively go against the culture that funded the country, the United States, which dictates that people should be free and they should be allowed to speak with each other. But you're treating them like royalty, you're treating them like aristocrats, and then they start to internalize and believe that they're aristocrats. And even if you have inflation, even if you have economic downturns, even if you have like all of the pandemic measures, they will support it because this is the regime that gives them red wine on tap. So I want you to understand that these are the individuals with this type of lifestyle, which are then telling the working class lads, the truck driver, the construction worker, the plumber, you know, the people essential to run a country. Because without, like you can't run a country without Twitter. Hell, you can run Twitter without the people that we saw in this video. You can't run a country without people doing the construction. Or the farmers that are picking the grapes to make the red wine that goes on tap. And these are the individuals that tell everyone else how it is acceptable to think, what is moral and what isn't, what they are and aren't allowed to say. Like, Twitter was the bastion of morality for the plebs. Like, they will dictate, this is acceptable, this isn't, on any controversial issue. There are no more two sides of the same story. No, like, the Twitter fact checkers are decreeing, the anointed ones have decreed that this is what you're allowed to think. And it seems that this is over, at least for now. I don't know the future of this platform. But this is why a lot of people are not very compassionate when they hear about the layoffs. They're like, okay, well, you live the life of absolute luxury while going on Twitter and complaining about being oppressed. Now, there is an article which came out and a lot of people are shocked. It says that the mentality of hard work means you're going to get a better life doesn't exist anymore. And no shit. I mean, if I were to work at Twitter as a guy coding, stuck in the basement, and no matter how hard I work, I will never get to have the wine on tap. The wine on tap is for other people which finish gender studies, as I said, and they directly get into a position of power and control. Then yeah, you get to feel that no matter how much you work, like if you work hard, you just make the lady with wine on tap get a promotion. Like you make her feel better because she got the good numbers coming up from the people who code. But you're not going to get that promotion. You're never going to go on top because the way the corporations are structured now isn't that the guy who just started and is doing a good job can eventually advance to the position of management. No, like the management are completely different people, a completely different class of people. Most of the time, they're not even hired by meritocracy. They're hired because of networking. So yeah, I'm not surprised that the coders think, well, if I work hard, I'm not necessarily going to get ahead in life. I mean, I just make money for the company. I don't make necessarily more for myself. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. If you want to help this channel, there's a link into the pinned comment. You click it there, and it takes you to a place where you may give me a tip. So hopefully I'll see